What we looked in the study was to look at a new hypothesis for first-line treatment in kidney cancer, which was to add nivolumab and ipilimumab together to try to beat sunitinib, which is one of our standard of care. So we did a head-to-head comparison, one-by-one randomization between nivo-ipi. So nivo-ipi in this study is given at 3 milligrams of nivolumab every 3 weeks, plus ipilimumab 1 milligram per kilo every 3 weeks for 4 doses, and then followed by a maintenance therapy every 2 weeks by nivolumab alone. We looked at more than 1,000 patients, and the primary endpoint for the study was to look at the intermediate and poor risk populations. The primary endpoint was outcome with the intermediate and poor risk patient, and what we showed was that, first of all, most interestingly, the survival was improved. Very strong hazard ratio, 0.63, 37% reduction in the risk of death. Median survival is not reached yet in the nivo-ipi arm, which is great, while it's 26 months for sunitinib. Second, we get a very impressive improvement in the response rate, 42% versus 25-26%, which is very high in this patient population. And interestingly, and more interestingly still, we have 9% complete remission in the nivo-ipi arm with very long durable responses here. If you look at the overall pictures of the toxicity with sunitinib versus nivo-ipi, more patients have toxicity with sunitinib than with nivo-ipi, so it's manageable. Quality of life was better with nivo-ipi. We had some immune-related adverse events, as we know, which happened, which is in the range of 6-7% in terms of grade 3/4, which is not too much. And we had to use steroids in 60% of our patients. But with that, I mean, it was manageable. It's going to replace the standard of care. So now, probably in a few weeks or months, nivo-ipi will become the standard of care in kidney cancer in first line, at least in intermediate and poor risk patients. So whether we should go to good risk patients, I think we should be cautious based on the data I've presented here. Should we test PD-L1 now? That's still a question here, and maybe some will do. It's yet to be confirmed, but I think it will become the standard of care in intermediate and poor risk patients.
At the ESMO meeting this year, great advance in prostate cancer, especially for N plus M0 patients having received ADT plus AB plus radiation therapy. And for bladder cancer, we have now a truly second line for refractory platinum disease with ramucimumab. Nick James, presented in the poster discussion session the population of M0 regarding abiraterone. So if you remember at the ASCO meeting, he presented the data with abiraterone for the whole patient population M1 and M0, and now he just focused on the M0 patient. And he found out that the key message that for N plus M0 patient, starting with ADT plus abiraterone plus radiation therapy, you have a great outcome with almost no events at the end in terms of death or metastasis. So I think that quite soon, the standard of care will be for those patients, radiation therapy plus ADT plus abiraterone in daily practice for 2 years, because it's capped for 2 years. And the other ratio is amazing, is 0.2. So it's strong data showing that it's very significant to give this combination. Claire Val made a meta-analysis and a network meta-analysis looking at which treatment is the best in daily practice between mainly ADT plus abiraterone or ADT plus docetaxel.
I've been lucky enough to present on behalf of all my co-authors the results of a network meta-analysis which has been looking at the effects of different treatments all compared against ADT in the original trials. There are no trials at the moment except for a small subset of the STAMPEDE study where that head-to-head comparison is available. And so what we've been able to do in the network meta-analysis is get a feel for the relative effects of these treatments in men with metastatic hormone-sensitive prostate cancer. We've included 6 trials. 6,000 or more men have participated in those trials. And what we find, It's no huge surprise, I don't think, but we have two very effective treatments in this setting, and we see a survival improvement both with docetaxel and separately with abiraterone when added to ADT, the old standard of care. We do see some suggestion that abiraterone is potentially the more effective of the two treatments when we compare them in an indirect way head to head, but we need more data going back to those original trials to collect the raw patient data to really try and understand the nuances in the effects of these treatments in these men.
So at the end of the day, for what to choose, it depends on the patient characteristic, the tumor characteristic, the doctors also, the health economy system, and it's quite complicated at the end, in fact. So, but so far we don't have any answer regarding which treatment to use first. In the RANGE study, it's a study, towards patients having a refractory disease, platinum-resistant urothelial metastatic, disease. And we know that after platinum therapy, there is almost nothing to do, except maybe immunotherapy with pembrolizumab, which increase the overall survival. And so far, we have plenty of immuno-oncology drugs, but no one beside pembrolizumab is accepted so far. So there is a niche to propose, further treatment, and we know that docetaxel maybe is useful, and they wanted to combine docetaxel with ramucirumab, which had a monoclonal antibody towards VEGFR2.
Our clinical question with RANGE is, does the addition of an anti-angiogenesis agent improve progression-free survival in patients treated with docetaxel-based chemotherapy? And these are for patients with metastatic urothelial carcinoma who have failed one prior platinum-based chemotherapy regimen. It was a randomized trial. Patients were randomized to receive either docetaxel or docetaxel combined with ramucirumab. The docetaxel was administered at 75 milligrams per meter squared every 3 weeks in both arms. In the experimental arm, the patients received ramucirumab 10 milligrams per kilogram every 3 weeks. Our key findings were that the combination of ramucirumab and docetaxel had a 25% reduction in the progression rate compared to docetaxel alone. This was nearly a 2-month difference in the progression-free survival between the two different arms. We also found that the toxicity was acceptable, that there was no degradation in quality of life when you compare this to docetaxel alone. Additionally, what we found was that there was nearly a doubling of the objective response rate in favor of ramucirumab docetaxel compared to docetaxel alone.
This is the first study which show you that, well, you are going to modify the outcome after platinum-resistant disease. So we'll see. Maybe, the greatest things to do is to combine this drug with immuno-oncology drugs. Because, with chemotherapy, the impact is not so great. So maybe by combining pembrolizumab plus ramucirumab, so blocking the VEGF pathway and promoting, the immune system is maybe the next steps.